Hey guys, and welcome to our review for Pet Sematary, directed by Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer, starring Jason Clarke, John Lithgow, Amy Seimetz, among a couple other kids.
A cat.
Some kids. Cat.
A cat.
A cat.
Several cats, actually.
Yeah.
My name is Scott Ellis. I'm joined here by Tim McGavick.
Pet Sematary. We all know how to spell it.
Nah, it's weird.
Everybody knows how to spell it, yeah.
Phil Clark.
Pet Sematary.
Sematary.
We all know how to spell
Right.
it. Yeah.
And Adam Franey.
Inside jokes. Love it. Love
Works
it.
so
We're
well
friends
for-
outside
yeah,
this.
you know?
Yeah.
Chummy.
Remake of a movie
Animal for the...
done many years ago, based on the novel by Stephen King.
Ah.
Tim, can you give us a little synopsis of Pet Sematary?
Dr. Lewis moves his wife, Rachel, and their 2 children to a small town in Maine, where they soon discover a dark secret right in their own backyard. They discover a secret burial ground where things that are buried there don't stay buried for long.
Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is
What's
better.
dead may never die, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
Tim, let's continue with you.
Okay.
You Stephen King
Interesting.
fan?
As a Stephen King fan.
Yes.
Read a little Stephen King, a little SK.
I read a lot of Stephen King.
He's a resident expert.
You know what, before we get... Has anyone seen the original Pet Sematary?
Not
No.
seen the original.
I have.
Heard it's
I have
garbage.
not.
I'm the only one here who's seen the original.
Yeah. What'd you think of the original? Let's start with
It
that.
is
Terrible.
bad,
Yeah.
but it's scary. I'll give it that.
Okay.
It's a bad movie, but it's a scary. There's some very...
Is it like
creepy-
campy? Is there some entertainment factor to be gleaned from it, or
No,
It's
it's just shit.
It's just shit.
But
I'm
it's
sorry to hear that.
the sister, like the bedridden sister, haunts me to this day.
Really?
Absolutely terrifying. Yeah,
Wow.
Interesting.
much more of a build up than in this one. Like they only show her one. They build up throughout the movie, and then at the end they like finally show her.
They blast you. They hit
Just-
you with it.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, let's
But-
jump back to you, Tim. What do you think about this new Pet Sematary?
This is a weird movie for me because it's not good.
okay.
Did not like it,
Okay.
but
Oh,
there are some interesting things that I like in the movie.
He loved
It's fairly creepy, actually. Like I think they did a good creep factor kind of throughout this entire movie. There's a kid early on that gets hit by a car that you see. Was not expecting that level of body horror in this.
it. Yeah.
There's like a brain that you can see, and the kid's like leg is like broke, bones like popping out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not expecting this at all. I thought I was expecting like maybe this movie's like is R rated. I was expecting like a PG-13
Yeah.
horror movie because I didn't watch the trailer at all. Like I had no idea.
It's a couple of F-bombs.
A few F-bombs, fairly violent.
Very Cronenberg that scene.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
Cronenberg.
just
Especially
head
like the
exposed.
ongoing, like he shows up as like a ghost, I guess, sort of throughout, and he looks gross every single time. I'm like, ugh. You mentioned the sister from the original movie. There's a bedridden sister in this one that's also pretty creepy and like
Yeah.
gave me a gross vibe.
Very creepy.
But
Uh-oh.
the acting is pretty terrible. Jason Clarke, I like almost less every time I see him.
Really?
He was great in Zero Dark 30, and then it seems like every movie I've seen him since, he's having a real hard time with that American accent.
Apes?
Really?
Yes.
good in Apes.
Like his
No.
accent.
He was good in Everest.
Yeah, but every time I see him, man, I'm like, I like him a little bit less. Like he's not as good in Everest as he was in Zero Dark 30. He's not
Okay.
quite. And then this one, his accent drops so many times, or I'm
First
like,
man.
Yeah.
clearly Australian. Like,
When he's got like
just
the
be
lip
Australian. Just
quiver and he's scared,
yes.
it's like my little girl.
Yes,
Like, it comes
especially
right
that one.
out,
It's like
yeah.
straight Australian. I'm like, directors, just let your actors use his accent. It's fine that he's Australian.
Yeah.
Like it makes no difference.
They
to the
can
story.
move to America.
They can
They're allowed
immigrate,
in. Yeah.
Is it just the prep time they had? I don't know.
Oh, is he Australian? Yuck.
So I thought he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great,
Okay,
and he was
yeah.
like our main focus. Like he's the main focus, and I wasn't really involved with him. His wife I liked, Amy Seimetz. I thought she was great, and the kid is terrible.
Oh.
There's a certain
Which one?
the daughter.
Yeah.
Something that happens with the daughter as well, where her acting gets even worse.
It devolves.
It devolves into some like terrible stuff.
It's very mean. Tim. You're a very
I'm
mean
sorry,
man.
it's bad. And then John Lithgow is passable. He's good.
I
He's
like
solid.
John Lithgow.
He's
He's
very
good.
John
He played
Lithgow.
very
He was the most
Lithgow.
watchable part in my opinion.
Yeah, He's very well. John Lithgow is always he's pretty solid. Like anything I've seen.
I like him.
I did laugh at the scene where she's like, "Oh, my cat's name is Church after Winston Churchill," and he's like, "I know who Winston Churchill is." Wink, wink. As in, I've played Winston Churchill in The Crown.
That's gross. That's gross.
But yeah, it's a bad movie. But there's some creep stuff that I thought the creep factor was there.
Okay. I think I agree with you for the most part. Wasn't great. There was a couple there's a couple of ideas, like you said, like the whole burial ground thing. Like I like the whole idea of it.
Yeah, like the cat was great.
Cat might have been the best actor in it. I don't know.
Church was good.
I like John Lithgow, and we'll get into it, but I do like how it ended.
The ending was very good.
I like that.
Yes.
I dig that.
Yeah.
And there is a scene with sort of a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Whole incident that happens there. I like that scene, the way that was shot. I thought it was done well.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that quite a bit.
Like the result?
Beyond that, you guys were mentioning the bedridden sister. I think that was completely irrelevant to anything. Like, I don't think that really ties in. I don't think it was necessary. And maybe because I haven't seen the original, I clearly was in there as well. I don't know.
It doesn't add much to the story besides
it doesn't
giving
need
the
to be there.
wife a backstory.
But
It's the only thing it's there for.
You could have focused on the story that was
Being told?
there instead of harkening back to
Because they
the
flashed to it
sister.
a few times.
Every time I'm like, why do I care about this? Like, I get that she has some PTSD from it, but at the same time, I don't know. There could have been a better way to tie it into the present instead of. I just didn't think it was necessary, and that kind of held it back a little bit for me. Like, there wasn't a good payoff at all. There was pretty much zero payoff. I don't know. Was there a payoff?
There's no payoff to that. No.
I don't get it. What was the
Like-
point besides just being kind of a creepy kind of side element to it?
Yeah.
I can say, if I may, about the original, that's what I was saying, like, they pay it off in the original.
Okay.
Because she's teasing that she has this severe trauma, but you don't really understand why. And it's just shots of her walking up to the room, but you never see inside the bedroom. And then at the end, they reveal she's traumatized because they finally show the sister.
How does that tie in?
It doesn't tie in.
It's just completely.
It is irrelevant. Yes.
It's completely independent from the story we're seeing.
It's like a whole other Stephen King story or something.
Yeah,
It's
like
been
what?
I'm just gonna.
It seems like it's from a different movie.
Yeah.
It honestly to me felt like something that's in the book that they.
It is in
were
the book.
We
Yes.
can't cut this out because it's
So
part
integral
of
in
the
the book.
book. So we just have to include this
Yeah.
for no reason.
Beyond
because
that,
it's in the book.
I didn't enjoy it all that much. Didn't scare me really. I don't know. I didn't love it. Phil, what do you think?
I have mixed feelings about this movie. I thought the first
You loved it.
2/3 of it were very tense, very creepy. I didn't think the acting was that good, but I thought that, everything that we were talking about, it was maybe not paying off, but I enjoyed the experience for a horror movie. I thought there were a lot of jump scares.
A lot of them.
My favorite.
Didn't love that.
The first one scared me. The truck.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Terrifying.
expecting it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was like,
Yeah.
Sorry, who saw the trailer? Did anyone see the trailer?
I did not. Apparently, the
I
trailer
have seen the
ruins-
trailer.
Oh,
You saw the first one.
Trailer ruined everything. I'm just gonna put that. Maybe that's added to it.
What do you
Literally
mean?
zero surprise except for the very very end was a surprise.
There's a lot in the trailer from the movie.
Like that truck.
That's
in the
a-
trailer.
yeah.
That's like the
Yeah.
hook in the trailer.
Yeah.
I can see why. I guess they figure everybody knows the original. Like they mistakenly. Figured
Yeah, I've never seen Pet.
3 out of
Sematary.
4 of us haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
and we watch movies all the
We are
time.
the experts.
No, but I haven't seen the movie. I haven't read the book, but I'm aware of what Pet Sematary is. I know that you bury your pet there and it comes back, or you
Yeah,
bury something
yeah.
there. It comes, it's a
I
very.
get it.
It's in the lexicon.
Yes. Yeah.
It's odd.
I enjoyed, I guess, the experience of the first part. I agree with you guys. I don't think the acting was very good. I didn't think the ending for me, while I enjoyed the finality of it, the last third of the movie, the last 30-40 minutes, I was completely out of. I just did not care one bit.
I agree. I
What
think
happened?
the ending I meant is the last
The last
1 minute.
The last minute's fine.
Right.
I was happy with that, but
I agree with you though.
the last,
lead up
I
to
guess
that.
the last 39 of the last 40, I was like,
I agree.
once the second shoe drops, so to
Yes.
speak, I'm just kind of laughing at this movie. All the
Yeah.
tenseness just kind of fell out. It was didn't finish strong. I agree with you guys that I thought that the wife part was interesting but unnecessary.
Yeah,
They kind of could have went
solid,
farther with it. They
yeah.
could have brought her in a little bit more. Maybe they don't in the story. Maybe that's why they didn't. But it was very mixed emotions for me. Because I liked that, like, it was tense for me. I was like, like, it just felt like, holy shit. And then it was like, oh,
Like the first half.
yeah, the first half,
sure.
I was like very much like,
Yeah.
this is tense, tight. I like this. Where are they going to go with this? I don't know. Like, haven't seen any of it, but
A lot of cool, like,
Didn't-
dream stuff going on.
did not end well for me. Gotta say that.
What was that movie? I never saw it. It was sort of set in Scandinavia, and it was these people that end up. It was like a Netflix movie that came out. Like, was it like The Ritual or something?
Yeah.
Did any of you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, which
You
was
saw
good.
that, didn't you?
Like, what was the payoff of that? Like at the end, like it was.
Don't spoil it.
Obviously, don't
But-
spoil it, but
Believe me,
Just-
I don't remember.
you don't remember. Anyways,
I
I
couldn't
guess
if
it's
I
similar.
wanted
Like
to.
there's stuff happening in the woods, right? But
Yeah.
I think there's a much better payoff in that.
Me too. I think
If you know what I'm talking
I've
about.
seen it, but I don't
Sure.
recall.
Sure.
Did you forget?
very
Adam, what do
good.
you think about Pet Sematary?
I thought Pet Sematary was a serviceable little movie that was made.
It was a film.
It didn't blow me away. I think I have a little better perspective because it's better than the original. Like that might be why my perception was like more positive. I think than you guys. I think I liked it a little more than you guys because, like I said, it is better. Doesn't mean it's great by
Yeah.
any stretch, but yeah, I just kind of thought it was fine. I agree that.
Glowing praise.
Yeah, like the best review, 1 out of 4 critics says it's fine.
Yeah.
I agree that it kind of gets progressively worse. Like when the shit hits the fan, and like he does the thing that you're like, oh no, don't do it, man, and he does it. It gets pretty cheesy. Yeah, I didn't think any performance was great. Really, they were all. I don't know. I didn't think anyone was garbage. Like you thought the daughter was horrendous.
She was the weakest point.
Yeah.
She wasn't great, but I don't know. It didn't really move the needle for me. Like it was, again, the most positive review. It was fine, or like maybe a little less than fine. I don't know. I thought one thing I noticed was it didn't look good.
Oh, it looked terrible.
It was
That's so
very
bland,
washed out,
yeah.
very dark, like very bad lighting. Every time they went to that mountaintop to bury,
Most obvious set I've ever seen in my life.
like literally it looks like you're like and blow it over like
Yeah.
it's a fucking plastic mountain.
Yeah.
It looked like shit.
Speaking of that, the like fog machine. I'm like, what? Come
Literally.
on, like,
There's like lightning
The
going
fog
off in the
machine.
I
background.
get it. Like, where are the lights coming from?
it's creepy apparently.
You know what also cracks me up, and it's just one of those logic things, like the scene where he's sleeping and he like gets up and goes to the window. I'm like, why are your windows open, dude? Why are your curtains open? We always
horror
take
movie.
that for granted, right?
Yeah.
But like nobody in their right mind leaves their curtains open when they go to bed.
And you're woken up at 5 o'clock when the sun
What
comes
are you
out.
doing? Yeah,
Yeah.
what are you doing, dude?
Every night I
You
pull
ever
down my
sleep
blackout
before?
blinds. I'm like, no.
yeah.
Nobody
Dungeons.
wants that morning sun in the eye. Anyways, it's a little side tangent there.
I like the mood for the first 2 acts, like you were saying. I really like the psychological side. Like,
Yeah.
I agree, maybe the sister stuff was unnecessary, but I thought it was at least interesting. And I thought that his sort of PTSD from his patient that he worked on, with the, like, exposed brain and everything, I thought that was interesting. I kept getting flashes of him.
Yeah.
And I like the scene when he's, like, waiting at the stoplight, and it's all red lighting.
That was a nice
That was a
shot.
good jump scare.
That was the
actually.
only good-looking shot, I think, in the movie, and it was a good
I was like,
jump scare.
Winding Refn? Is that you?
Yeah,
With
right.
that red lighting.
Just a moody face with red lighting.
I think when I was watching the wife stuff, I enjoyed it more, but after like seeing them not pay it off, I was like, this was a waste of my time.
I
Like,
agree.
I
don't
thought
know
if you
what
built the character, you could have like gone somewhere with it, but it was just
And
like,
like, maybe we can get into it in spoilers, but like, I just don't get that whole storyline whatsoever.
They made no.
Like, I just don't get it.
I've been thinking about it, like kind of makes sense, but like just
No.
in a bizarre way.
In what way does that make
is,
sense?
That is like tangential, like you said, tangentially related to the story.
It's
Like
just
there's
too
a
bizarre.
story
I
and
agree,
there's
yeah.
a story and they kind of meet up, but like
The
Very
easiest way
bizarre way.
would have been just to have like the wife had like a previous like miscarriage or some issue that she was dealing with, but like a more grounded thing.
or like they bought the farm from like her dead uncle or something like that, and like that's where they buried
Pick
daughter
anything out of a hat. It would have been better than this sister that's like possessed or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Let's give our ratings and we can get into spoiler talk. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go. It's a light 2. Is it high?
4. I'm kidding. It's a 2.
Sweetie?
It's a 2.
Bill?
I'll go 2.5. I like the first 2/3 of this movie.
I'll go like the lightest 3
Oh,
you
shit.
could ever imagine.
3.001.
Yeah.
001.
Wow.
Yeah. 3.001 reels.
Well, Adam, maybe you can fill us in
Probably not.
about how the twists happen in the original versus this one. I guess one of the first big things that happens is the daughter gets hit by a truck, which is the scene that I liked.
I thought
I
that
like-
scene looked really bad. Like
Really?
when she's like sort of pausing and like posed and staring into the camera,
Yeah.
like very CG, very green screen.
Really?
Yeah.
I was waiting
I
for
thought
like
it looked pretty shit.
the drunk driver music to come on, like the sad like,
Jesus
and then like
Christ.
to have the text thing, like the thing, like, please don't text and drive, like
Yeah.
like just with the slow mo
Right.
like running. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Okay. Fuck me.
they fuck you, Scott. They flipped it. They did the old like J.J. Abrams Star Trek flip.
Okay, so did the son die?
Yeah,
Okay.
the original. It's like the baby son
Right.
and the older daughter lives.
Okay.
So and they even fake it out the way he saves the son.
Yeah.
Question, because I read the Wikipedia synopsis of the book and it was
Okay.
not overly. Like, does the baby kid comes back?
Yeah.
Is he like killing people?
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous to see that. See
Very
like a
childish.
3-year-old like.
Yeah. It was
Okay,
very,
that's why they
very
flipped it
child's
because it
play.
would have been ridiculous. to
That's
see.
one of the other reasons, like logic things, is like Jason Clarke would have just bodied her. Like he's so much stronger than her. Like does she have supernatural strength?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because that doesn't make sense.
In the book, from what I gathered, it's not clear if they actually are reanimated or if there's like a demon has possessed the body.
Oh, that's creepy.
Like the Wendigos.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have bodied that cat.
Yes.
I'll tell you that much.
That cat.
I was cruising for a bruise and I wanted to punch that cat
When he
clean
when he,
in the face.
when he had that needle, he's like,
Oh,
I was
no.
like, just do it,
I was
man.
like, what are you? Like, just kill it.
End
Pulp
it.
It's a
Fiction,
cat.
that is.
dude.
Yeah, it is ridiculous when the kid's like going around demon mode
With
like,
that
a knife.
voice.
It's
The
very
voice was
silly.
brutal to me.
That voice was terrible.
I'll say the little boy looked exactly like the little boy in the original.
Good
So,
casting.
is that a
God
positive?
tier casting.
It's just a thing. It's not really good or bad. It's just a thing. That's basically what this movie is. I thought the ending reminded me of The Mist. I was like, is this a Stephen King like movie trend now? We just go most savage possible ending.
Yeah, because
I think
that's
so.
not how the book ends.
It's not how Pet Sematary book ends?
No.
Or The Mist, or both.
Well, both.
Yeah.
But that's not how the Pet Sematary book ends.
So run it by us then. What's the?
So in the book, the wife gets killed.
Okay.
He buries the wife, and then it ends with like him at like the dinner table, and like you hear like the door open, and like the wife's hand comes on his shoulder, and he's like, "Oh hi," and then it ends.
That's the book.
That's the book, yeah.
Interesting.
I don't hate that. It's a decent
But that's like
ending.
the same thing.
It's like the same thing, but with,
Right.
with just the daughter, with just the wife instead. But this way, like the whole family's now like this possessed.
But he was still. Was he? He was still alive.
Yeah,
He was still alive in the
normal.
book, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the movie ends, I guess. When you think about like it cuts to black and then you see like the car.
Yeah, it's the same
Like,
thing, except the
unlocked,
kid
like-
is the one that's alive
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
And now his whole family's trying to possess him.
Presumably they're
slaughtered.
gonna
They're
kill
gonna
him
kill him and then
in the movie.
reanimate him.
What I didn't get was like, so they have a property, and
Yes.
at the back of their property, there's a pet cemetery,
Yes.
and then behind the pet cemetery is the swamp and then mountain where if you bury something, it'll come back
Yes.
Right.
alive.
Plastic Mountain,
Yeah.
yes.
So the pet cemetery is literally just a pet cemetery.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you so far.
So
Yes.
It's a front.
What are
It's
you
a front.
getting at?
It's a front. It's
So
like
why
when you
is
go
it
to the
called pet-
laundromat and
Yeah.
then in the basement
I
they're making heroin.
no, I get that. I'm just like
It's like it's a
once,
front.
like we went to the pet cemetery like once at the beginning, and we go through it towards the end of the movie,
Yeah.
or like a third of the way towards the end of the movie, and then that's the last time we see the pet cemetery. But the movie's called Pet Cemetery, so I'm
Yes.
like
It's a good point.
very confused as to why.
I guess Pet Sematary is the entryway into that area.
You have to pass through it.
Yeah.
But-
One thing I didn't get was when he was like,
but it's just a pet cemetery.
Jason Clarke literally asks
I do.
how he asked his neighbor how far his property line goes. I'm like,
Oh.
bro, you literally bought the land. You looked at the.
Farther than you want to go.
You had to have seen the deed. I don't know.
I couldn't handle John Lithgow in this movie.
Really?
I was laughing.
liked him.
I was laughing every time he was on
Yeah, like
screen.
his country bumpkin.
He was just such a weird dude that
I
I
liked
couldn't.
him.
I couldn't help but laugh. Like
I did. This movie didn't.
I don't disagree. You're just taking some long
farther than
drags.
you want to
Oh,
go.
I have a question for the class. Why did Jason Clarke drug John Lithgow?
So that he wouldn't stop him getting
him.
Ellie,
Yeah.
digging up Ellie, bringing her back there, burying her, and then
So that he wouldn't see him?
he wouldn't stop
Is he
him.
assuming that he would see him when he's doing
No,
it?
Yes,
'cause, like,
he
yeah.
would stop him
Same.
from doing it.
Well, yeah, because he has to go.
He could have not
dig
told
up.
him.
Well, they live right beside one another,
Right,
And
so
they
it's
have to go back to
Okay,
so
got it.
it's kind of like it. What I don't understand is why she killed John Lithgow, or Judd.
She's a demon, man. She's a Wendigo.
I don't. Yeah, there's no.
But
There's
you know
no
what I mean? Like
reason.
they kill.
You fucking idiot.
It's a movie, dude. You gotta have to see him die.
I mean,
horrible.
she was like very well. She liked Judd, and then she kills her mom, and then buries her mom, and then like they kill her dad, and they bury her dad. It's like you're not gonna bury this guy.
You're not gonna bury Judd.
You're not gonna bring Judd
Camille
back
Lair's Judd came back as well.
after you stabbed him like an
No.
excessive
That would have
amount
been
of times.
just too repetitive, you know. I don't know.
Not a lot of payoff, I feel
What?
like.
Speaking of payoff,
With
can we
anything.
talk about that sister? Like, what was that story? Like, I just don't get it.
So her sister had spinal something.
Meningitis.
A twisted spine,
Yes.
as she put it.
And then she had guilt that she felt like she had murdered her sister because she refused to bring the food up.
Well, her sister was like angry at her all the time because like
Yes, because
she has a good spine, and whereas like
Yeah.
her sister's twisted in bed, so she would yell at her sister, and then she was the dumb waiter to give her sister her dinner,
Yeah.
and then her sister fell down the dumb waiter. And
How did she fall down the dumbwaiter?
I guess she like crawled into it. And then,
Why would she crawl into the dumbwaiter?
To get her
You just
dinner.
take the food out of it.
But I don't. She said the
Dumb
dumbwaiter
sister,
didn't
more
work.
like.
The dumbwaiter didn't fully work and it got stuck.
Maybe she's like reaching
So-
So
down
she
to
jumped
grab
into
it.
the
So
dumbwaiter.
she went to like go
Yeah.
grab it, I think, and then she fell. And then
She's the
broke her
dumb
neck and
sister.
She's the dumb sister, yeah. What I
I
think.
just don't get it. I'm just like, what is this?
What
do
I
you mean,
think they
man?
were like.
It's scary.
What does this
isn't it?
have to do with
I
the
think
main
they were
story?
like she was haunting her sister like as a ghost in
Oh.
like in her childhood house, and when they moved to this new house, that's like the barrier between life and death, and because it was like torn a little bit because her sister is a ghost, that her sister can now like re-haunt her again, even though it's been all those years and all that time. I think that's what they were getting at, but they
But that's
didn't-
like another movie.
they
That's a different movie.
that's my
You know what I
point,
mean?
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
get what was happening.
do.
Like, I comprehended like what was happening. I just can't
Yeah,
understand why.
They don't explain the rules to it because the Jason Clarke's like literally haunted by that guy's ghost.
But
It's
again,
fine,
no,
I
And he
have no
literally
present day.
sleepwalks and stuff. So like, there's like bizarre like paranormal stuff that's going on that's not like alluded to except for like those two things. I'm like, is there ghosts in this movie or not? Like, what's happening?
it's like ambiguity is like hard to pull off.
Like, is it a haunted house or is it just like
Yeah.
which one is it?
I feel like we saw like if you're not a great filmmaker and you try to convey like ambiguity, it just looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Who
we
are those
saw that
kids?
today. The directors?
No, the kids that were burying the dog in the beginning.
They're just kids from the neighborhood. It's a ritual.
What neighborhood? There's two houses.
The
This
neighborhood.
is a neighborhood.
There's a
that,
neighborhood?
like,
Yes,
parade
neighborhood.
thing.
That's the Pet Sematary.
They just walk through these. I would have been like, "Get off my lawn!" Like, what do you like?
That's what they say. They're like, that's one of their. She's like, is that our property? He's like, yeah. He's like, all right. 'Cause we have
Why
a
are these kids on my
weird-
property? Get off my property! I don't
we have a
know.
weird pet cemetery on our property.
So many things. I'm just. It's true. Like,
It's a bad
if you
film
don't-
movie.
if you mess up the whole ambiguity thing,
Yeah.
it just looks like
It's just sloppy.
nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before, like I want to feel like you know the answer, and when it's done poorly, it feels like the directors don't know the answer.
Yeah.
They
It's like
just-
Inception. Like, it's ambiguous in whether or not that top stops spinning. But like, I feel like Nolan
Thank
knows
you.
what he intended. So like,
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
okay
it's
with it
done
being
well.
yes.
Like you
Mhm.
know that he knows the answer, but something like this is just like,
Yeah. It just seems like you know what you're doing.
yeah, it's like a cop out or something, or they just ran out of ideas or something.
Maybe this is nitpicky, but there's a throwaway line about like the trucks that are going by, and like, oh, it's those damn like Ownco trucks or whatever they are, and I'm like,
Hope they
Are
don't
you,
hit her
are
kid.
you ever gonna mention that again, or are you just gonna like get mad at this random company for no reason? Like they were like, oh, it's those damn Walmart trucks, like Walmart, and then just never happens again. I'm like, if you're buying a property that close to a highway, you can be like,
Yeah,
it's just
that,
a lot of.
I guess like the
It's all
first
very
half, nothing surprised me there. Like I was gonna mention about the trailer again, because like in the trailer, you see the truck go by and it's like, but then also I think it was like the second trailer or something, literally showed the daughter like dead, like the dead daughter, in the trailer. So when I saw that scene, I'm like, okay, like she's gonna die. Like when she was walking by the second I saw her standing by the road, you know, like looking through the trees, I'm like, okay, you're dead in this scene.
Right.
I don't know, it just didn't.
That's good.
That
though.
killed it for me.
You don't want to, like, you want to be warned. You don't want to be surprised
Yes.
in the movie, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like
It would have been better if
be
I just didn't
ready.
see the trailer, right?
Well, no,
But I
it
probably
wouldn't
still
be-
would have seen it coming.
No, you don't want to be surprised in movies. You want to like.
I want to
already know
be.
the
I want to be
twist.
aware of what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. You want the
Wow,
spoon
it's like,
placed
like-
in the mouth.
it's like when the daughter like
Ow.
sees John Lithgow has a gun. You know what I mean? It's like they show us the gun.
Smoking gun. If you see a gun in the first act, it's
Was
going to
that
be used.
Chekhov's gun? Is that what it
Chekhov's
is?
gun, yeah.
Like
What?
they
I've
show you
never
the
heard of
gun.
If they show you the gun in the first act, it has to be used. But
It has to be used. Like the gun will be used.
It's like
Disgusting.
I don't.
It's like that's literally the definition. Like,
Yeah, I was
this
like
is
waiting for Jason
yeah.
Clark to have the gun and like shoot his daughter.
Someone's gonna get shot.
I thought he was gonna shoot
And
the
then-
cat. To be honest with
or
you,
something.
I thought he was like somebody was gonna get shot.
But no one got shot. He just dropped the gun and fired.
Well, classic.
I think there was a lot of guns shown in this movie, and you know a lot of them weren't shot. Okay,
Very
just that
accurate.
gun. Just that gun was shot.
That's a pretty good like microcosm of what the movie is.
We were
I feel.
shown the gun closet. Only that little pistol was shot off.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you guys wanted to bring up? I think that'll do it for our review of Pet Sematary. Tim, where can people find us?
People can find us on Facebook and on Instagram at Upper Lake Podcast. You can find me personally on Letterboxd at Upper Tim and on Instagram at The Craft Pundit.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Wicked Swami.
Oh.
That's about it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at Franny25 and on Instagram Letterboxd at UpRealAdam.
Find myself Scott on Letterboxd at UpRealScott as well. If you like this video, leave a like on it, leave a comment below in the comment section, and of course subscribe if you haven't already.
Hit that bell.
As always, keep it real.